Welcome to the Takeout Effect, brought to you by Business Takeout. The Takeout Effect brings real conversations in business. I'm your host. My name is Banki. Today's guest is an author, he's a playwright, and a storyteller. I'd like everyone to welcome Robert Mulolo as a guest on our show today. Hi, Robert. Happy birthday. Yesterday was your birthday.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Thank
Well,
you.
to just dive right into it, if someone was to ask you who is Robert, what would you say?
Um, Robert is basically someone who seeks, I guess you could call it freedom. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Freedom to live, freedom to create, freedom to, express himself in, whether it be in photography, writing, or even filmmaking.
Nice.
Robert.
And I'm glad you said that because I was on your Instagram,
Yeah.
and I saw that you wrote something that says he creates reality when you need to escape yours. And I'm like, how powerful is that? And
Yeah.
I think that's really powerful because you're providing the type of creativity that allows people to escape their reality that they're in and go into yours and see a different perspective on life. And I think that's beautiful and amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, the thing is though, with every writer, like one of my favorite writers is Eric Jerome Dickey, rest in peace. Uh, and one thing I always found, like whenever I read his work, it's always like he has the character downright. Like I mean, from the profession to the the mannerism to even uh, reactions and all of that. They just feels like you're in there, like in yeah. I just enjoy this particular type of writing, so I always want to create this effect for my readers.
Nice. And
Mhm.
you have another quote. You have a quote from your website. It says, the goal of an artist is to create definitive work that cannot be surpassed. This was a quote by George Bernard Shaw, who was an Irish playwright who died in the early 50s, 1950s. Why is that quote important to you?
Well, the significance of the quote, that actually there's two reasons. So there's the significance of the quote itself, because as a creative, you can never feel like, you know what, your last work is the greatest work, because you always have an idea for something else that's coming along, and you always think, you know what, yo, this is awesome, this is great. So yeah, the definite, like the art, uh, the goal of an artist is to create a definitive work that cannot be surpassed, but you're always surpassing yourself. I find there's that. There's also the fact that the first time I heard that quote was watching Love Jones.
Nice.
And yeah, and Love Jones is my all-time favorite movie.
Yes, it's
So
one of my favorites as well.
yeah, so to me, whenever that quote is spoken out, I mean, I think of Darius Love Hall and Nina Mosley just like speaking in her living room, and he utters that quote.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's amazing and definitely good to know. I know that you were inspired by the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. In your early days.
No,
Why was that?
no, it's not that I was inspired. I actually learned English watching The Fresh Prince.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes. Okay.
but
So
yeah, later on I did get inspired because I love the show so much. I wanted to be on the show, so those were my beginnings in terms of writing. I started writing scripts like that.
nice. Just
Mhm.
so everyone know that you're born in Congo, Africa.
Yes.
It's known to be the richest country in the world for natural resources. You lived there. You lived in France and Montreal. You started
Mhm.
writing at age 15, and at
Yeah.
age 16, was it a teacher that brought you into? switching from writing the scripts that you were doing before and pushed you in the direction of writing books?
Yeah, most definitely. English teacher, Mr. Clark, I think was his name. But yeah, he was just like basically saying, I gave him some of my scripts and told him this is what do you think? Because I wanted to get, I didn't know where I was. I was only 16. I didn't know what to do with it. It's just I was just creating at that point. And he basically sort of gave me the direction to actually move forward with books. He said that it would translate better that way.
What year was that? I'm trying to not ask your age.
It's all right. It's all right. I turned 40 yesterday, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, it was 97.
Okay.
It was 97. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, time flies, right?
It does. It does. It does. It really does. Mm-hmm.
So in 2010, you published your first book.
Yeah.
Am I correct? And what you did it. What challenge did you have on that journey to get that book published?
So, all right. So 2010, it was I answered what you call it, a contest.
Mm-hmm.
The contest was to write an erotica story.
Okay.
And I wrote a story called Valentine's Day. From there, the publisher was called XOXO Publishing here in Toronto, and they published my. It was a novella because it was under 15,000 words. So yeah, they published it. At that point, the challenge, the main challenge I had was really with the editors. Because being a man of color, a black man and everything, when I write my characters, most of my characters I write about them as, what I mean, from a black experience, and having a white woman editing my work, but then trying to change the slang into proper English, trying to change the actions from, saying that it doesn't sound right. I mean, you do not know, I mean, like some folks actually have done this, they've done that. People, like, I mean, the word cock is not used. I mean, we say dick. I mean, come on. Yeah, it was always an issue in terms of like butting heads. Yeah. That's what happened.
I think that can happen because she may not have understood the culture.
No, she didn't. She didn't at all. One thing though, I mean, sorry, but it's kind of funny because now I'm dealing with an editor, a black woman, and you see the contrast. Having going from that experience to this particular experience. We don't even butt heads. It's like really a conversation at this point that we have, me and her. She'll send me edits. I'll respond to them and tell her, no, this is what I meant. Like it's always questions, answers. So it's a much better experience now.
Nice. And I'm glad that you found someone that you can work with where you both are on the same page. I know often in business, it's really hard to find someone to collaborate with, whether it's writing, whether it's just co-hosting, or whether it's just doing different things. It's the collaboration, the coming together. It's a beautiful thing when you can both make it work.
Thanks.
So your book has 4 stars on Amazon, right? It's called Why Me?
Yeah.
Right. I think this book is amazing because the protagonist is a woman who is half Spanish, half Black. She had many life struggles, addictions, abandonment issues, whatnot, and she was able through it all to find happiness. And my question to you is, how, as a Black man writing, a character from a different perspective, how difficult was that for you? And, what type of research did you have to do to really bring that character to life?
Well, from a Latin aspect, There was a lot of back and forth conversation with um, someone I knew who was living in Venezuela. Yeah, I
Okay.
knew a woman in Venezuela who actually was helping me with the translation and the pronunciation because I was not good using Google Translate for it. I had to basically get the actual
Yeah.
translation from that person, you know? So expressions, all of that. I mean, from English to Spanish, she helped out. With regards to writing about a woman, um, I've interviewed, spoken to multiple women, asked them questions about certain situations,
Hmm.
told them what would be your reaction, and just create my own my own particular reaction from there.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
So we're 11 years later from 2010, and there is a short film coming out, and
yeah.
it's called She Waits. Um, has it been selected by the International Black and Diversity Film Festival
It was
for this
selected.
year?
It was selected.
Perfect. Can you
Mhm.
tell us about what it's about? What should we expect? The project overall?
Well, it's a short film, so there's not much I can say about it. The
Mhm.
only thing I can say is it's a movie about a woman hopes, who's hoping against reality.
Nice.
hmm that's short form. That's the best way I could say it. I cannot give you more details, otherwise I've given away the movie.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
So you do have other projects that you have. Let's talk about the Women Crush Wednesdays. And
Yes,
I looked it up. It seems to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, a series of blogs about Black women that are entrepreneurs. Is that correct?
pretty much. Yeah. It's so I'll say this: women crushing it Wednesdays. Uh, the way I created it is because you see all your interviews, and most of them, it's always been about the same type of individual, your same celebrities. There's not much. There's not that many folks that are getting their light, or they're getting their shine, in terms of getting getting a light shown on them, and people to see what they're doing. The women that I see on Women Crushing It, that I interview on Women Crushing It Wednesdays, they're women that I find to be very inspiring. I find them to be um, like bosses. I think that they're out here just just like killing it in their field, and I believe that they would be a great example for anyone who's in similar fields, who feel stuck, and they would provide uh, some form of some pathway for them to actually get unstuck. So yeah, it's yeah, I was inspired, and mostly I was inspired by these women. Most of these women, all the conversations I've had with them, they've always inspired me. So I always thought, you know what, people should know about these women. People should hear about
Yes, and I would say for anyone who's watching who wants to check it out to really go on your website and you can
them.
have a look at some of these women. L.A. Wade is one of the women that was featured. She
Yeah,
was also on one of our other shows on this platform, The Healthy Entrepreneur with Maxine. Um,
yes, yes, I remember that.
so the website www.robertmulolo.com. Check it out and see the beautiful things that are happening there.
For sure,
Um,
for sure, for sure.
my next question is more about the late shift. Um, Is that your alter ego? I've always
So
known it to be a Facebook group, but I'm understanding it's more than just a Facebook group. Can you let us know more about
yeah,
what it is?
yes. So I'll tell you. So basically, I grew up in a religious household. My father's a deacon. My family's always been, prayer. I mean, like staying on the right path, or whatever, and just live according to the Bible ways. Um, I One thing about me though, and I've noticed this from uh, I mean, I'm choosing my words. I'm not trying to say anything crazy, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm not. I'm remembering this, from some earlier days. I mean, I guess you could say. I mean, I've been a sexual individual, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and when it came down to the late shift, I always looked for some way to share the erotica that I wrote, uh, but without feeling like someone is gonna take, like, go and share that with family, and then I'm gonna have to deal with the nonsense later on. Um, but the way the late shift came out, at first was actually, I was working for a company. I don't want to say the name, but I was working regular hours with everybody, but there was this one person. She was working later hours.
Yeah.
She wanted to work. She wanted to switch with someone, and I said, it'd be cool. So she started calling me Mr. Late Shift because I was working the later shift at that point, right?
Okay.
So that's how the name Mr. Late Shift came out. But now it's like, you know what? Mr. Late Shift sounds like, I mean, that could sound kind of sexy. You know what I'm saying? So Mr. Late Shift is going to be, yeah, no, I'm going to take that in. Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to be writing erotic stories under the name Mr. Late Shift.
Okay. And
Mhm.
have you already started this with the dark room sessions? Erotic.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to the Darkroom Sessions. Shout out to Mike Truth, and shout out to Ellie Wade. We So basically every Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Um, I have someone reading my stories, and
Mhm.
yeah, reading Mr. Leisha stories, and yeah, it's always a fun time.
Nice. And how long have you been doing that? Writing erotic stories.
Shoot, since 2010. Since 2010, really. I think 2010 was my very first time writing erotic. You know what? No, I'm lying. I kind of did also while I was in my religious days. I
Hmm.
was a bit inspired by those, so yeah, I did that then too.
Nice. So
Hmm.
for anyone who is an aspired writer, who have, do a lot of different talents, whether it's photography, whether it's doing short films, whatnot. Um, what tips would you have for them to be able to monetize their talent? Creativity is a space where me personally, I know that as a graphic and web designer, I started off drawing, right?
Yeah,
Um, and I know that once you have a passion for something, you're really doing it just for the passion of doing it. You're not really doing it to really make money. And then sometimes you want to then take it to that step. You want to be able to monetize it. You may not know the right way to go about it. You may not be business savvy. Um, how would you go about monetizing the talent? How would you advise someone who wants to monetize their talent about the best way to go about it?
well, to be honest, at this point, I would say, well, there's many ways that you could do it. Um, One thing is, first and foremost, make sure you got content, like, because you don't want you don't want folks to read one great story from you and then they have to wait like 6 months down the line to actually hear another great story from you. So make sure you have content and you keep pushing that content out. Now, at that from that point, I mean that not only will grow your following, but
Mm-hmm.
it would also get sometimes either sponsors or even agents interested in wanting to speak to you at that point. I I also think in order to make money, a lot of times you do have to spend money.
Yeah.
Um, my short film was not. I mean, the thing is, look for funding. Definitely look for funding. Um, there's um, there's a town hall taking place tomorrow. Folks should how you call it? They should register because they're going to be talking with the mayor of Brampton, who will speak on how to get funding uh, for some of the projects for creatives. So I say if you look on Mike Truth's page, that's on Instagram, MIC_truth. Um, and yeah, so basically, look for Mike Truth and register, and you'll be able to actually attend. It's from 6:30 to 7 tomorrow. Uh, yeah, I just recommend go on there and look for it, and you'll and yeah, get the funding. The funding is gonna help you out so much, so much. So yeah,
Okay.
look for funding. That's if you're looking for money to monetize anything, right? So and
Yes.
advertise. Oh man, shoot, advertise your content. Oh my gosh, I am so bad. No, you know what? I am so bad at this. Like remembering to advertise every time and advertise everywhere you can. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
keep your foot on their neck and advertise. Let people know, hey, I'm out here. You know what I mean? And get your people to advertise for you too.
That's true. Just
Hmm.
leveraging social media. Social media, when you look at back in the days, you'd have to pay for advertising. Social media is basically free to
Yeah.
advertise, and you can pay for ads and stuff like that. But just generally,
Hmm.
marketing your business on social media platforms, it might, a lot of people, don't really take advantage of that as they should,
Not at
and
all.
get your work out there. I would say
Hmm.
to really get your work out there and let it be seen, right?
Fact,
Um,
facts, facts.
I'm guilty for like not posting a lot on my personal page, but post a lot on the business takeout page, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Funding can be challenging, but I'm looking into that. So I'll take your
Yeah.
advice on that definitely. And it's
Yeah.
always
Most
good to
definitely.
know what the city is doing.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. And like I said, tomorrow that town hall is actually going to be a great way to actually get that information on how to get funding. So I definitely recommend everybody to just register and be on there and just check it out.
In terms of like COVID-19, was there anything that you had to do to pivot your talents, your business? Um,
I mean,
Studio part, I'm assuming.
hmm?
The studio
Still,
part of it? The studio?
uh, the studio, no, the studio is just recent. That was earlier this month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got that link earlier this month. No, with regards to COVID, there's been a lot of cancellations that took place, and sometimes a lot of people basically just like bail out because it's a scary time. I mean, no, not everybody knew how to deal with this when it came out a year ago. So yeah, it's to be honest, I did not know what to expect from for most of my projects. I feel like COVID actually sort of pushed me towards making a movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, it pushed me to do a lot of the work that I was trying to get done. Like, I mean, I felt, yeah, I felt like I needed to be pushed, and yeah, COVID did that. I finished my novel; it's getting edited. I did the movie. Now, this whole picture and interview thing with the studio and WCW, it's always like, I mean, yeah, I I felt like yeah, I had to be pushed to get these things done.
that's
Hmm.
no, I can definitely relate because the whole 2020 gave me a lot of time to reflect, you know, and really to look at the overall picture of, I have two businesses and I'm a
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah. But
So
you don't work a regular job, do you?
no, I'm
That's
just
right.
yes. So I'd really have to really look at areas where I that wasn't automated. Just look at the whole process of
Hmm.
the when a client becomes a client, they have they want a job done and the process to get the job completed,
That's
everything
facts.
in between there, and have to really go and see what can be, what can be automated, what in the
Mm.
process, from getting a lead to a sale, what's in that process that can be automated,
Yeah.
the delivery of it, it's just everything. So it did give me a lot of time to reflect, fine tune some areas that I felt I was weak at,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
look at myself as a bigger picture. What are my areas I'm procrastinating in? Why is that happening? What can I do to fix it? So it
Yeah.
was really it pushed me to do a lot of different things that I normally wouldn't have had the chance to do if it wasn't COVID, because before
Hmm.
COVID I felt that my life was like this,
Yeah.
constantly on the go. I'm doing this. I'm
Yeah.
driving up and down. Now I hardly drive. So
Hmm. No, that's true. I mean, I mean, the thing is though, it give you give some to give us some to plan. That's
exactly.
pretty much, yeah. That's what it did for me.
So work-life balance. How are you able to manage personal life, work life? How do you manage your time? You have all these projects going on. Um, how do
Yeah.
you do it all?
Yeah, no, I suck at managing my time right now. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, let's hang out. All right, cool. Let me push this way. Let me push that this way. It's like like there's a lot of double booking that takes place, and
Yeah.
I gotta cancel whichever. I mean, I don't know. It's I want to be able to do everything at once, and I don't know. It's just it's crazy. It's crazy. So at this point, I need help. I need to find a way to better manage my time.
Yes, and it's good that you identify that as an area of that you need more strength in, because I live that,
Hmm.
So basically, I get where you're coming from. It's hard to really manage the time, to really,
Yeah,
make sure you're not over double booking appointments, to really make sure that, that you have time to spend with your family, that
fact,
you set
fact.
boundaries when customers are calling you like after 10 at night, and you're like, I'm not answering that.
Exactly. It's like who you think you are. you know? Yeah, for real.
So it's always, managing time is always, it's a good area to start, I would say,
Mhm.
in terms of, because I look at the overall, different aspects of how I can improve my work life balance on an ongoing basis, because things always come up, and I'm like, why is it that I'm working and I'm not really, having fun, for
Yeah,
example. So I
yeah,
always look at what can I do to change that. Okay, you know what?
mhm.
Sunday is my day. I don't care what's going on. I am stopping my work at this particular time, and I'm enjoying the rest of the weekend. You know.
Facts. Yeah.
So it's just some, those type of things.
Hmm. No, that's true.
So,
That's true. And you have to put your foot down when it comes down to these things. Be like, all right, cool. No, like
yeah, and
we
that
shut
might be the
down.
hardest thing,
Oh,
you
it's
know?
so hard. It's so hard because I mean, you want to relax, but at the end of the day, also it's like you also want this thing to come out like so quickly, and it's
Yeah.
just yeah, like I don't know. Like I
Have you
even at the beginning of the month, I said that first week I'm not gonna push out anything for WCW. I'm just gonna relax that entire week, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I completely get you. So your book, you mentioned that you're in the middle of editing a book.
yeah. Just
Okay.
chance it. Just chance it. It's actually a little romance novel that I wrote. Um, Sort of a boy meets girl type of story, but in a very, very unconventional way.
Nice.
Um, I I took some parts that I recognized from my own life and
Mhm.
added to it, but there were also there were a lot of fictional part that you know what I don't even think I mean I still did my interviews when it came down to the female protagonist in that in the story, but it was the whole fictional aspect of it was really something. It could be something out of a movie sometimes. So yeah, you guys you guys be on the lookout for it. Just chance it is going to be a dope thing.
We did get a comment from Chadwick, and he was just saying that an erotica written by a male, that's fire. So a lot of not many people know many black male authors that write exotica. So which is
Hmm.
is good.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, there are some. I can't remember the names there except for Eric Drum Dickey. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, in terms of erotica being written by male, I say black male at that. No, there's not that many. I'm definitely, but I'm just trying to create a lane for myself
Yes.
where folks basically the main thing I hear about my stories is mostly it felt like I was there,
Nice. Nice.
and that's the goal. I want y'all to feel like you were there. I want y'all to feel like, hey, you know what? I'm this felt a little too real. You know, like a lot of times people ask me if I experienced that myself. No, I have not. uh, I mean, I can take parts of my life and add it to the story, but no, for the most part, it's all fiction.
So what's next for you? What would the future for you look like? Let's say a
Well,
year or two from now. What are you looking to accomplish?
I want to create a late shift podcast.
Nice.
Now, with the late shift podcast, it's not so much conversation, although I would love to have conversation. I have a podcast where conversation is taking place.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, hold on, hold on. Yeah. Um, I'd love to create. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I'd love to create a podcast where I actually my stories are being acted out. So it's just like just similar to where to the days of radio.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, yeah, there's something like that.
Okay.
Hmm.
So for anyone,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I do have another movie that I'm in a process of completing.
Mm-hmm.
We already started shooting. We just need one more day of shooting, but it got real cold outside, so
Oh.
it's gonna starting to get warm again. So soon time we're gonna get back to shooting. What else? And also I have two scripts that I'm currently writing. I will let the world know what they are about.
We're looking forward to it, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, for anyone who wants to connect with you, how can they do that? We have your information on here. Is there any?
Oh, so Instagram, Mr. Mulolo, Mr.com, but Mr.Mulolo, I mean, on Instagram. On Twitter, Mr._Mulolo on Twitter. Let's see. Facebook, there's my page, Robert Mulolo, the author. Those are ways to get in touch with me. You can email me at robert.mulolo@gmail.com, or go to my website, www.robertmulolo.com.
Perfect. It's
Mm-hmm.
been a pleasure having you on the show today. I've learned so much about your projects and everything that you're doing. I
Yeah,
think you're definitely inspiring others to really, get on the ball and just get it done. You
for
know,
sure. For sure.
if you haven't made that step in 2010, you wouldn't have been where you are today. It's all about
Fact,
taking the first step and moving forward with that.
fact.
One, and then someone said, "Is the movie right?"
You know what? I'm actually writing an erotic movie. I am writing one. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Good to know.
So but no, the movie's not erotica.
Okay, well, thanks, Shelley, for asking that question. For those who are tuning in, please feel free to like and share this podcast interview. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Robert, for being here today.
Thank you
And
for
I had a
having me.
great time. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Yes, thank you.
Bye, everyone. See you next week, Thursday at 7 p.m.
Peace.